About 2 weeks ago now, for the first time in a very long time, there was a bill passed in the House of Representatives that passed almost unanimously. There were only 3 objections to the bill, which is, in this political environment, is very unusual.
Right.
And the bill is referred to as the Secure Act, and it's setting every community up for retirement. And the intentions of it are, I think, very good. I'm excited about a lot of provisions that are in there because they are going to make it easier for part-time employees to get access to retirement plans. They're going to make it easier for people that are over age 65 to continue to contribute to IRAs. They're going to make it easier for small employers to get involved in retirement plans. So it's going to make some things very accessible, which is really, we should be doing that. There's a real retirement savings problem in this country, and we do have to make it easier for them to retire. The problem is they put 2 provisions in there that I think that outweigh the good provisions by 100 to 1. It's crazy that they even let these go through. The first one is they decided that currently if a person dies with an IRA and that IRA passes to their children, the child inherits that money in the IRA, and then they can take distributions from that IRA over their expected lifetime. So that IRA can continue to exist for 25, 30, 40 years. Well, under the version that passed in the House, those children that inherit that IRA now are going to be forced to take that money out in 10 years. The Senate version, which is expected to pass unanimously, meaning nobody objects to it, they've cut that down to 5 years, right? So we have this real retirement problem in this country. And the retirement problem doesn't exist with the people that are currently retired, that are older, that get some of the benefits of this new legislation. It exists within the generation that's inheriting these IRAs. And now you're gonna force these people to take the money out over a 5-year period of time. And not to be too critical of these people, but one of the reasons they don't have retirement accounts is because they spend their money.
The younger crowd does.
The younger crowd spends their money. And we see it in our own clientele. When somebody inherits an IRA and that money is protected by taxes and they're not forced to pay the taxes, they tend to leave it there. They tend to let that money continue to work for them. When they inherit money that's not subject to taxation, they're out buying cars, they're buying cottages, they're finding ways to spend that money. I wrote our congresswoman to tell her about it because I'm just baffled that was in there and it was no objection. And the reason they put that in there is they needed a way to pay for the bill. But it's just a devastating way to pay for the bill. I don't know what.
It's paying for a bill from people that can't afford to pay it.
That's right. It's coming out of the wrong, exactly. It's coming out of the wrong person's pocket.
And when they talk about inequality as a problem, which it is, but this is making it worse.
And I saw, one congressman making a big statement about one of the provisions in there is that if you're currently 70 years old and you're working, the way it works now is it's 70 years old, you're required to take money out of your IRA. Well, now they have a big extension. Now they don't have to take it out until they're 72. And he was making a big deal about that. Like, wow, what a big win.
2 more years for someone that already is in good shape.
Don't get me wrong, that's a nice benefit, but it's far from a big win. It's not a big win at all.
And it's people that are still working at 70, they probably are in some of them are in pretty good shape if they're doing that.
A lot of them are probably in very good shape, exactly. And so that's a nice benefit for them, but they don't necessarily need the savings. But the other provision that's in there that really kind of went under the radar, and it got in there because of lobbyists, is that within 401ks now, they're going to allow insurance companies to be hired by the 401k plan. Basically, I'm paraphrasing this a little bit, but they're going to allow insurance companies to be hired by the 401k plan so that when a 401k participant retires, they can then buy an annuity from the insurance company that gives them a guaranteed payout for life. And in that provision, they're releasing the trustees from any liability if the insurance company basically sells them a bad income annuity, right? Which is just a horrific idea. Because if we've learned nothing else over the years, is that insurance companies, when given the opportunity to work too freely, will do things that will benefit them and not necessarily benefit the insurance buyer.
No.
And I really just think that provision is going to lead to 20 years from now, there's going to be bad outcomes from that.
Not to mention that annuitizing your pension is maybe not the greatest idea in many cases.
You're right. In some cases, it's not going to be a good idea. And when you have a captive seller of that annuity, they know they're not competing with another company for your annuity purchase. It's going to make it even worse, right?
And they're not fiduciaries; they're just selling something. They're salesmen.
Yeah, that's
they're linking
exactly
a
right.
salesman into the pension, letting the company owners off the hook.
Yeah, they're letting the trustees off the hook. Which, 3 years ago, we were in the middle of having the Department of Labor issue new fiduciary standards for retirement plans.
Right.
And of course, that got defeated because the insurance companies hated the idea, because it goes
some
against
of the
everything they do.
Some of the brokerage houses.
Right? They don't act as fiduciaries; they sell something, which is okay. Some of those products are absolutely fine and they're necessary. I don't want to overly bash the insurance companies, but they certainly didn't want a fiduciary act where they had to act in the best interest of their product buyer. And now we're going the complete opposite with our Congress, and we're going to let probably the biggest violators of the Fiduciary Act into retirement plans with a kind of a free ticket.